Well, hello everybody. We're gonna do a little shoot today. I'm pretty excited about this video. This good friend of mine, Scott, he's a World War II rifle, well, I should say gun buff. He's done a lot of research on it. He knows a ton more than I do about it. So we decided to get together today and do a little video. We're at the North Springs shooting range. We're just outside Price, Utah. The reason we decided to come here instead of just at my house where I'm normally at is we're gonna do a little bit longer range shoot. I think we're gonna try to shoot with open sights today at 400 yards. So the gun we're going to shoot today is the classic M1 Garand. So if you guys have been watching my channel, you know I love classic guns. I've done quite a few of the 4570 and the 1886 videos lately. I did a Savage 99, but I don't think there's a more classic American history rifle than this M1 Garand. So I'm going to quit yapping so much. Let Scott talk to us more about this gun. I've never owned one of these. I've shot one of these very, very little. And Scott's kind of the resident expert on it. So I'm going to let him tell us about it. We're going to go over the ammunition and kind of the way this thing works. So Scott, tell us about your rifle.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank Chris for letting me join his channel and talk about this, because it's very special to me. And many of you viewers, you may probably have relatives that served in the wars and probably even World War II. I have 3 uncles, and I know a lot of people that do. So I got really interested. I love history. The M1 Garand is iconic. World War II. We were the first nation to adopt a semi-automatic rifle for the main battle rifle. And this gun served us very well, saved a lot of lives. It's very unique in how it works. So the ammunition that we have, should have got that out first, comes in at 8 rounds. It holds 8 rounds, and this is a clip. And people use that interchangeably with magazine. I have friends that says, your clip, put that clip in. Well, it's not a clip, it's a matte box magazine. This is a clip, end block clip. And the way the rifle loads is you put your end block clip.
Scott, I'll grab the camera and get a little better view of that.
Alrighty.
Okay, before we get started, I'm just going to take a second to ask you guys to please subscribe and give me a thumbs up. And we are going to shoot this M1 Garand today at 400 yards with open sights. I hope we can hit something. Pretty sure Scott can. I don't know about myself, but we're going to give her a shot. All right, so Scott, you want to show us how to load the clip, not the magazine?
So here's the end block clip. So you hold it and you just start shoving them in there. I like to get 5 rounds in first. Get 5 rounds in there, make sure they're all down, and then you push on them. And when you push them, they all kind of line up. You just have to make sure they're down all the way. And now you can hold it and get the 6th, 7th, and the 8th. The 8th is a little tricky, but you get it kind of lined up, and then pushes it right in.
So there's actually no, what I would call like a spring and a follower in that. The spring tension is just the side to side essentially.
Yeah, it's just if you look at it, it squoze in, and it's a spring metal, so it holds them in really well.
Interesting.
The follower's right here.
Interesting. Yeah, that's
what's pushing the rounds up as you fire. It's pushing them up.
This guy right here is what you're calling the follower. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And so when your action's open and you want to close it, this is where a lot of people get their thumb caught, right? You have to push this follower down and it releases the bolt.
Okay.
If you push that.
Yeah, show us how you do that. So if you wanted to close the bolt with an unloaded gun with no end block clip in it, show us how you do that.
Okay. If I just push this down, it's going to slam my thumb.
Oh.
So this is the way the Marines and the Army, I think there's a couple different variations, but the Marines did it this way. You take your hand like this, you put it right there, pull back and push it down. Get your thumb, push it down, release the bolt, get your thumb out of the way.
Okay.
And do it that. And when you practice it, you know, you can
get pretty smooth.
you can get
at it.
pretty good and not get your thumb.
Interesting. All right. Yeah, I did not know that. I've heard all the stories of the Garand thumb, and not owning one, I did not know that. So that's interesting. So, all righty, very good.
So you take your end block clip and you slip it in the top here. There's a groove that it slides into, and once you get it in there, you push it all the way down, and you hear that click. That just released the bolt. You got to get your thumb out of the way, because what they call Garand thumb is you get your thumb pinched in here when it closes. So I'm holding it right now. I'll get my thumb out of the way. Half the time it'll close. There it went on its own. The other half, it might stay open, and then you just bump the op rod on the back here, and then it just closed. So now it just loaded around. That's how how you load this gun. The safety's unique. It's right here. That is on safe. To get it off safe, you would stick your finger in and push it forward. That takes it off safe.
Scott, is there a safe way to unload the gun from where it is here? Maybe...
So where it is here, you can unload it. So what you have to do is grab the op rod and put your hand over the top here to catch this round that's going to try to pop out. And once that pops out, there's a button on the side here. You put your hand over and you push that button, and it releases the clip, and now the bolt's locked back.
Oh, interesting. I did not know that.
So
roll the gun over so we can see that button you're talking about. So this is the button here that you push, and that pops the clip out.
Right.
Okay, cool. All right, very good. Should we talk about the sights on this rifle?
So I'm going to talk a little bit about this particular rifle. This is not your typical M1 Garand. This rifle has been match conditioned. It's very accurate. I did all the work myself, and I started with a bare receiver that I purchased, just the receiver, and then built this rifle. And so there's certain things that I did to make it shoot accurately, tuned the op rod, the gas system, and the only thing it doesn't have is a good trigger. It has the regular combat trigger, which is not that good. But we deal with it, and I maybe in the future I'll work at getting a better trigger. So the sights on this gun are national match sights. The normal sight wouldn't have this hood on it. It would just be a peep sight that you look through. But the national match has a smaller peep, and then the front post is a little bit thinner. It's a little bit narrower, and that will give you a little bit better, more accurate sight picture. The windage, this sight designed is the best combat sight of any open-sighted rifle. People argue that it is the best. So your elevation is here, and it's marked in yardages. Amazing that if you shoot the ammo that they designed for this gun, when you set it on 400 yards, it's on 400 yards. Then your windage is on this side, and you can adjust that, and it slides this back and forth.
So Scott, is the windage like set up to what we would call MOA?
Yeah, so the sight, the elevation, and the windage, each click is 1 MOA.
Okay.
Okay. And then if you want to get a half MOA, and that's only the national match sight, but this hood right here rotates. There's a little notch at the bottom here. And so if I rotate this 180 degrees, it just raised it 1/2 MOA.
So is that only on the match?
Only on a national match sights.
And so the standard issue GI rifle does not have that feature.
No.
Interesting.
Nope.
Okay. So let's talk about the ammo for a minute, because the ammo, I know that you and I have talked about it off camera a ton. So give us all the information you have on the ammo.
So in order for these sights to be calibrated to where they'll hit where it says, you have to have the loads that they used back then, which is called an M2 ball, military M2 ball round. And it's a 150 grain bullet going about 27 or yeah 27, 25, right in that area, and that's what these rounds are loaded to, so that it works perfectly. I dial to where I want to hit, and it's there. It's amazing how well they did. This is 1940s technology, vintage rifle here.
Interesting. So this ammo that we're shooting today, this is your hand-loaded ammo, correct?
Right.
Okay. All right. I know Scott has a really nice annealing machine. He's actually annealed some cases for me in the past, and so yeah, that's interesting that this is his hand-loaded ammunition, but it is set to the original military standard of the M2 ball ammo.
If you was to shoot deer loads of full powered 30-06, like 180 grain bullets, it could ruin this. It could destroy this gun.
It's a little because it's just tuned for that ball
It's
ammo.
tuned for that, and the op rod is probably what would bend. It's just too much. So if you do have a Garand, or you're going to get a Garand, make sure you get ammo designed for shooting a Garand.
Okay, very good. Okay. All right, so one other thing I want to talk about. So Scott and I have been friends for years. We actually worked together for a long time. We've spent countless hours talking guns. And I knew Scott had this gun, but I honestly thought until just today, honestly, that Scott had bought this gun and restored it. But he has essentially built it. Scott, just do a brief overview of the process or how you started this project. Because I mean, as much as you and I have talked about this, I did not realize that this was not... I thought it was a purchase gun that did some restoration. That's not the case. Go ahead, Scott.
So I've wanted a Garand for a long time, since I was, way back when. And so finally, when I decided to do it, I do hobby gunsmithing, and I've done things before. I actually purchased this receiver. This is a Springfield Armory receiver that was manufactured during World War II in 1944.
I'm going to flip the camera around so we can get a better view of it. Okay, so the receiver was an original 1944 manufactured receiver, and that's
Right.
what you started with. Okay.
April of 1944, I traced the serial number on it, and so I started with that. There are still parts available for these rifles that were manufactured during the war. They manufactured all these spare parts, and they're still available today. Matter of fact, you can get, they call new old stock, which is they've never been mounted on a rifle. They're in the Cosmoline. They were spare parts, and I was able to find all of the parts. This gun, I have two Garands. I have a combat original. This one here, I wanted it to shoot as accurately as I could. So pretty much all the parts, the bolt, the op rod, the gas system here was new, old stock. There are GI parts made back then. The only part that isn't original military GI is the barrel.
So tell us about the barrel. That's a newly manufactured barrel by one of the top barrel manufacturers that does it.
Criterion manufactures barrels for military rifles. Same spec, same blueprint as the originals to be able to fit and work on this gun. So it has a new barrel and a new stock, of course. You can tell this has not been in the war.
Stock's beautiful for sure.
Yeah, and
so who made the stock?
So Boyd's makes stocks for military rifles. They do M1 Garands, 1903 Springfields, M1 carbines.
Interesting.
So yeah, so I just got the new, and then this is my sissy pad.
Nothing wrong with that.
Sissy pad.
I kind of like it myself.
The metal butt is like brutal on a bench when you're shooting it. So anyway, that helps. That helps a lot. But yeah, I was very pleased at how this turned out and the accuracy of it. You're gonna hopefully see today what this thing will do. Amazing.
No pressure. No pressure.
Yeah.
No pressure. Well, that's interesting. So you say you have two Grands. The other one you did not build.
I did.
You built the other one also.
I built the other one.
Interesting.
The other one is unique. The other one I purchased as a receiver. I got it from the same guy who was selling them. He's selling two. I bought the first one, and after a while, I'm like, I wanted a very accurate match rifle, but I want an original, as they would have, the soldiers would have carried. So I bought the second one, and I started working on getting original parts that were the right series for that rifle. For 1944, it's a June of 44. You have to have all the parts pretty much have numbers on them, and you can look those numbers and see when they were manufactured. All the parts on that gun were manufactured in 1944.
Wow.
The barrel has to be within 3 months of the date of manufacture of the receiver to be correct. It's within 1 month. I got a 1944 barrel on it. The stock, I mean, that might be another video. There's a way to date the stock by the cartouches that they stamped in the wood. That stock is stamped with the right cartouche, dated 44.
Interesting. So performance of the guns, is there a big difference? I mean, you're calling this one a build to duplicate the match. The other one's the build for what I would call the generic issue rifle. Is there a big difference in performance accuracy wise?
There is a difference.
Interesting.
But amazing, you know, this gun shoots better, of course. I put a lot of work in to try to get it to do that. But I shot the other one. I mean, it is an amazing piece of history, that other one. And I've shot it. I wanted to shoot it. I'll probably shoot it some more, but I don't shoot a lot. But it shoots the same accuracy as a brand new one that the soldiers got during World War II. It's shooting about a 2 minute. It's like a 2 MO, which is amazing for those guns.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Okay, very good. Well, let's do some shooting. What we're going to do next is we're going to set up a target at 100 yards. And we're going to shoot some 3-shot groups on paper. So that's what our next step is. Okay, Scott, no pressure.
Oh, yeah.
Give us a good sub MOA 3-shot group here. All right, we'll walk up and have a look.
Let's go take a look.
Okay, well, Scott has set the bar pretty dang high on this deal. So here's 1, 2, 3. We forgot the tape measure, but that's about 1.5 inch group. Pretty stinking awesome for open sights. So we're gonna mark that with a pen, maybe shoot one more group. Alrighty. All right, so I'm not gonna let Scott have all the fun. We marked those 3 rounds that he shot at 100, so I'm gonna try 3 shots myself at 100 on paper. We'll see how it goes.
I think Chris is a little bit giving me credit, but you know, he does a lot of open sight shooting, and so I bet he does pretty good.
Don't jinx me. Don't jinx me.
That's the point.
Yeah, that's the point. All right, I jinxed myself enough. All right, hopefully Scott didn't jinx me too bad. We'll walk up and look at the target and see how we did. All right, well, Scott didn't jinx me too bad. So we got his marked, 1, 2, 3, and mine are 1, 2, 3. It's interesting that it's a very similar pattern. Mine's not near the side of the group. I'm closer to 2 inches, but still, it goes to the quality of the firearm. That thing is shooting fantastic. So. All right, so Scott's got this gun dialed in. We're kind of winding up on this close range. We're gonna do some 400-yard gong shooting here in just a second. But we got 2 rounds left in that M block. Scott's gonna give me the pleasure to shoot it 2 more times, and he's gonna get a little bit of a close-up of that end block clip coming out of the gun. Very unique about this M1 Garand. there's not another gun out there, I don't think, that does anything remotely close to this. So we're gonna just shoot 2 rounds. I'll try to just lob it in on some 200-yard steel. Hopefully we can hear some hits, and then we'll watch that clip jump out. So
Impact.
okay, so what we're gonna do next is we got a 400-yard gong set up, and we're gonna take 3 shots and see how we do. Here we go.
All right.
Okay, here we go, Scott. No pressure.
Really, are we online?
We're ready to go.
Again?
Yeah, that was a solid hit. That was a great shot. I'm not sure on the third one.
Huh?
I'm not sure on the third one.
Let's go for.
Want to go one more? Okay. All right, we think we got some solid hits on there. We're gonna run down and maybe put a fresh coat of paint on and see what the target looks like. Okay guys, well, we had, here's 1, 2, 3. So it's just a little bit at the bottom. So that's 3 out of 4 shots at 400 yards. We've brought our tape measure, but that's about 6 or 7 inches. Open sights at 400 yards, you're shooting 3 shot groups at 6 or 7 inches. That's phenomenal. We're gonna put a fresh coat of paint on this and maybe hit it one more time. Okay, so Scott's gonna let me take a few shots at the 400-yard gong, and he's set the standard pretty dang high. We got 3 out of 4 in about 7 or 8 inches there. So I don't know. Scott's a way better shot than I am. Hopefully I can hit it once out of 3. We'll give it a try. I think that was a miss, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
That sounded like a hit.
I can't see anything, but it's questionable. Maybe yes and maybe no. Hit, solid hit. Solid, good hit. Look how far this is. Good shot.
Thanks. Just kind of a little disclosure here. That is the first time in my life I've ever shot past 100 yards with open sights. We're going to run up and have a quick look at the target, see what we got. I guarantee you it will not be anywhere close to what Scott has done, but anyway, we're going to go have a look anyway. Alrighty, so interesting thing. So here's 1, 2, closer to the bottom, and 3. So what does the tape measure say, Scott?
8 inches.
So that's an 8-inch, 3 out of 4 at 400 yards.
And we're pretty sure that one of those shots hit down here.
Hit the stand
Hit
just
the
a little bit
stand
low.
just low.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. To me, I've never shot past 100. I feel pretty good about it. I think Scott's got this thing dialed in pretty sweet. So, alrighty. All right, well, we're going to get the video wrapped up, but Scott has got some really interesting accessories to go with this, and this is an original bayonet. So there's a little speculation if this was actually from World War II or World War I. So the story is the World War I were 16-inch, and the soldiers didn't like them. They were too long, so they cut these down, and then they just reissued them in World War II. So we're speculating on this one, but something I did not know until just recently is show you so there's the button on there, spring loaded, and the little catch, hopefully you guys can see that inside of there, is what locks the bayonet onto the rifle. I'll show you. So as you slip this guy on and put the groove over this tab, that's what locks it on. And then to remove it, push the button, comes right off. I did not know that until just recently. very interesting that the knife has a spring-loaded catch in it. So another interesting thing about this rifle that we haven't talked about is the wood over the barrel. Of course, it makes it heavy, but what the theory is, or from the days of World War II, is if you're gonna fight with your bayonet, you grab the rifle out like this so you have some leverage. You're not gonna be back here like in a shooting position. If you're actually that hand-to-hand, you got to grab out here, and if your barrel's hot, then that's going to cause you a pretty big problem. So that's interesting, and I didn't know that until just recently. So anyway, step in here, Scott. I want to tell Scott thanks for helping us out with the video today. Scott's you know, him and I, like I said earlier, him and I worked together for a lot of years. We've talked a lot of guns over the years, working together. Scott actually helped train me at the place that we work. I want to tell him thanks for that. So he's a great friend. Great knowledge about the World War II guns. It's fascinating. I mean, these guns are part of our American history, and we need to preserve this, pass it on to the next generation. Hopefully our younger folks will take some interest in history and interest in these guns. So anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Please subscribe if you haven't, and give me a thumbs up.
I just got one more thing to say.
Scott's got one more thing.
I want to thank Chris for this video and for having me here. We had a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And hopefully you got a new respect for the M1 Garand. But if you like this video and you like the content of the military style, we can do more. We've got more to go if you're interested. So comment and press that like button, because that will encourage us to give you more World War II and other military stuff.
For sure. Yeah, Scott's got, certainly this is one of many of Scott's World War II guns, and he's already offered to do more of these, so we're going to do them, but please leave comments. Love to hear the comments from you guys, and we can keep going with this World War II genre of guns that we've been doing. So anyway, we're going to wrap it up. Thanks for watching. Everybody have a good night.